I appreciate the thoughtfulness and the kindness. And first I want to stand on the existing protocol with your kind permission and thank the great comrades of this chapel, particularly the chairperson and the executives for whatever reason inviting me to come here. I thought long and hard about it and wondered why I was invited. The only thing that I could conclude was that perhaps there was no other person who agreed to come, because I didn't quite see the qualification that I had to be here. I know there are many eminent lawyers in this state, very great senior advocates, very great lawyers of repute, very great politicians, very eminent people who are friends of the media, and I thought that I was the least qualified to come here. Unless, of course, you are looking for the person who is going to say something that will land him in jail, particularly when we have security forces behind me right here. So, but I thank you for whatever reason for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here. I have been to several countries by the grace of God, and I still believe that Nigeria is one of the best countries in terms of opportunities. This is the only country where you can live out your aspirations without fear or favor, and the system is programmed in such a way as to promote you, to promote your talents in a way. So I love being here, and I hope you also love being here. But no country is perfect, and I think that the rate of depression in Europe is far higher than the one we have in Nigeria, with all our problems, both with our light, with our land, and with our security issues. Now, an opportunity like this, I always try not to deliver a lecture. I always try not to deliver a lecture, and by that I mean not to come with a prepared text that I will read that will be boring to people. Although as journalists you can extrapolate from it and form your news headlines or such like things. But I believe that it gives us an opportunity to have a conversation about our country, to have a conversation about our state, and to have a conversation about our local communities. Because indeed, this country belongs to all of us. We all are stakeholders in one way or the other, particularly when it comes to land. Land is the greatest resource that you can ever have. It always appreciates and it never depreciates. Unless there is war, any investment in land will most likely go up. So little wonder that people are so interested in purchasing land. It also helps you to ensure that you can get a roof over your head. It is said that from the earnings of the average worker, is it 1/3 or 2/3 usually will go to accommodation. Forgive me if the economics is not correct. Maybe you are paying less. But if you live in an urban area and you want to live in a comfortable accommodation, you find that a huge chunk of your earnings will go to accommodation. So the desire to have your own place, your own house, is not misplaced. But we find that in our environment, that dream can be just a pipe dream for many people. Can be a pipe dream for many people. And I think there are various causes, various reasons for it. You know them, I know them. I will just remind you of a few reasons why we have land grabbing, particularly in Nigeria and more specifically in Edo State. Number one culprit in land grabbing, in my humble opinion, is the government. Our government officials are the number one culprits when it comes to land grabbing. Now, they do this by the instrument of the law. You are all aware of this notorious, this eminently useless law that we call the Land Use Act, which was promulgated by President Obasanjo just before he exited, where was that now? In 1978 or thereabout. Am I right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. 79. Okay, but the act is a 78 act. So just before he left, he promulgated it. And by that act, for whatever reason, he domiciled all lands in the state governor to hold on trust for the benefit of all the residents of the state. The impression was given as if the average Nigerian is incapable of holding his own land, and he needed the governor to hold the land in trust for him. So the governor was consigned as a form of a trustee over lands in the state. But the interpretation of people once they become governors, not just in Edo State, is that the land belongs to government. The land in the state belongs to governor. So with that false mindset, with that false interpretation of the law, they would always approach land issues as if they are the owners of the land. For example, and I'm sure you are all aware of this, that in the wake of the last gubernatorial election in Edo State, several lands were, what's the right word we should use now? I'm not being political, were revoked on the pretext that these lands were needed for public purpose. One of those lands is the Garlic Memorial, the school along the Ekenwa Road, was suddenly, miraculously needed by government. And the only reason one can fathom for this was because during the gubernatorial election, that place served as a political campaign ground for one of the gubernatorial candidates. Now, I will not mention names. So, this is the mentality of once people become governors. They see lands as their own, which is very wrong. Very, very wrong. The interpretation of the law of the courts in this regard does not lean towards that. You find out that ultimately, after the litigation, the courts will always say you have not done it right. And it did not start from today. When you trace back historically, you find out that it happens everywhere. It happened in Ekiti State, it happened in Rivers State, it happened in Edo State here. Along the road, if you get to where the National Youth Council is, with all due respect to you guys, Agbaba, that land was acquired. And yet, every time I pass, I see this transport company there loading Auchi, Gara, Bode. And it beats my imagination. But this is so that's why I say that the first culprit of land grabbing, the menace of land grabbing, is government. And our own government in Edo, Benin State has even been charitable. When you get to Lagos, where I'm sure some of you are from, so that you don't look at us from Edo as if we are the bad people. When Osibanjo, the vice president, was the Attorney General of Lagos State, and the great Tinubu was the governor, you see how they acquired the Lekki area by what they call the global acquisition. They use an instrument to acquire people's lands and consign it to government. So that right now, if you own land in the Lekki, Ekpe, all those axes, before you can develop your land, you must go and check first whether it forms part of where government has acquired. And if it does, you go as a community to appeal to government to release, please release a part for us. Release some part. So government will charitably release a part of your land to you after you plead very well. So that is Osibanjo, and he's now the vice president. So you can imagine the thinking at that level. I always tell people, if oil is found in your land, oil, I mean crude oil, is that called crude oil? What is it called now? If it is found in your land, you will be the most unlucky man on earth, because government will do what? Acquire your land and pay you what? Pay you nothing. You won't even get the money. You won't even get the money. So not too long ago, a client went to a lawyer and told him that he saw some element on his land, and he got a geologist who confirmed that it was oil, and the lawyer said, shh, keep quiet, you better go and shut up, otherwise you have lost your land forever. But if oil is found in your land in Canada, you are automatically a rich person, both you and your generations to come. So what is the difference between the way we reason here as a people? So, and I'm not just talking about the common man on the street, I'm talking about the elite. All the legislators that we elect to go to the National Assembly don't even look at this, because when they get there, their own interest is how they can get oil contracts. So it becomes a circle round around. So number one, a land grabbing culprit is the government. Now the second one, the second culprit in land grabbing, I should say, are the law enforcement agencies. The law enforcement agencies. It's not as if we do not have laws against land grabbing, but these laws are never implemented for one reason or the other. Hello, are you with me? If you are offended, just be patient with me. I will say something that will please you after a while. So it will balance it. I will offend you on one side and I will please you on the other side. So you find out that the law enforcement agencies usually treat land matters as if, well, it's to the highest bidder, isn't it? If you are richer, then that's fine. The third one is our system of justice. As I said, I've been to a few countries around. I have never seen a country where the justice system just keep going on and on and on endlessly. So you have a land litigation that can last for 14 years. You have in my office now, well, maybe I shouldn't say that openly. I don't like to take land matters because they never finish. The people who are litigating it will die and their children will take over, and those ones will die again, and the case continues. There was a case that a lady went to court and said, my lord, I'm withdrawing from this case. And the judge asked her, why are you withdrawing? He said, my lord, because I don't want to die. He said, who says you are going to die? My lord, look at it. The first lawyer that handled it has died. The second lawyer that took over has died. The third one died and they brought it to me. They didn't tell me all those who had died. So I don't want to die because, everybody handling the land, everybody is dying. So that is the legal system that we have. And it behoves on all of us to critique the legal system in such a way as to force the opinion leaders, the decision makers, the policy makers to change, to improve. We are all educated. We are intellectuals. Last time I went to the UK, the law that we copied, we call our own now the Administration of Criminal Justice Law. You arrest somebody, police is supposed to ensure that there is a lawyer present and record it, and all those fanciful things. So I asked my colleague who was my junior in the UK when my law firm there was opened, and he said to me that the government in the UK recently rolled out logistics to ensure that all those things work. For example, there will be courts open at weekends, because if you tell police don't detain somebody for more than 24 hours and they arrest the person on Friday and you are telling him don't detain more than 24 hours, which court is he going to take him to on Saturday or on Sunday, or God help you if Monday and Tuesday happens to be a holiday? So the system ensures that courts are open on those days so that they can actually implement that 24-hour requirement. But in our own case, we have all these things in the law, but there is nothing to support it. So you wonder sometimes if the implementers are not intelligent enough to realize, but everybody keeps blaming. We blame the other person, who blames the other person, who blames the other person. But I think that if the judiciary had its own sort of financial independence, economic independence, then we will actually know who to blame. One of the saddest days of my life was when I went to see a governor once, and a high court judge came and knelt down begging for his retirement benefit. He was on his 2 knees begging that I'm soon going to retire, please, Your Excellency, I will need my retirement. He was kneeling. I was very sad, very conflicted, very sad, because they think that is how you survive. But it just tells me that is how that man has been groveling all his life. He's never been able to stand up for anything. Never been able to stand up for anything. So if at the end of your life, at that age, you still have to kneel down to beg for your... Some judges retire and then they set up a consultancy practice and they make more money. So why go and kneel down? But that is the way, the mentality. Hello? Are you with me? Okay, so now we come to those people that you expect me to address, the leaders of the communities who are the ones that promote land grabbing. But for me, I think that they are actually down there on the food chain, far below the government, the security agencies, the judicial system. You have these community leaders. I was with my mechanic yesterday to fix my car, and he said, he couldn't come to do my car in my house because one community chairman told his boys to bring in. And when he got there, he said there's no kind of car he did not see there. No kind of car. So I asked him, okay, are we talking Tundra, Jeeps? He said Tundra is one of those that the man does not even use. And the man said he doesn't collect cash in exchange for land. He collects cars. And it has to be, state-of-the-art cars. And obviously all these lands he's selling are not the ones he inherited from his father. They must be people's lands. But we all know that if you take this man now to the police for any of these things, in fact, the man is surrounded by police. He has police bodyguards. He has police guards. If not that the commissioner is here, I would have revealed more. That the mechanic told me. I would have revealed more. And the mechanic told me. So my mouth was agape. I was wondering, you will see how some people like that who sit down and openly brandish weapons. Openly brandish weapons. You know, so how do you go and negotiate land with such a person? So we now know the culprits on this land grabbing problem. Now, what should we see, in my opinion, as the remedies for this land grabbing things? Because those who grab land don't really realize that they are doing more harm than good. For example, you are a community chairman, you have 42 cars. What are you doing with 42 cars? You are just killing yourself. You will die before your time. The mechanic told me that more than 10 cars were parked in that man's house. He was asked to come and repair more than 10 cars. You are killing all his wife and children. Everybody say they are all abroad. Only him is here weathering the storm. Which storm are you weathering? Who created a storm for you to weather? You created the storm and you are around to weather it. You think you are a strong man. But we have seen them come and we have seen them go, haven't we? The ones that are there now, were they there 2 years ago? The ones that were there years ago have either been, we saw one the other day holding a pump action on a video, viral video. I hope you watched it, if you are on the internet. Holding a pump action and threatening even policemen with a pump action. A pump action shotgun. So that is the kind of environment that we are in. Now, what should be our approach to solving this thing? The first I think is education. The first should be education. We need to educate our people that you do more harm than good when you grab people's land. First, you stultify development. I was in the High Court today to testify. In 2008, my wife bought a parcel of land in one of the communities. In 2015, they said the Odion, who was one of those who signed for my wife in 2008 and who collected the land, had also sold the land. That, I don't remember that it is his land. So we have been in court and I went to testify this morning. How can a man, you were one of those that signed in 2008, in 2015 you suddenly remember that it is your land. So the person he resold the land to had built up to lintel. No, he had roofed before he got the writ of summons. So he stopped. You can imagine since 2015 till now, he has not added an extra block. Is that not a stultification of development? And it's not just happening there, it's happening in various places and various communities. Various places and various communities. So we need to educate them through informal means, not the formal means, because they will not listen to the formal means. We need to educate our governors. We need to educate our members of assembly and national assembly that when you grab people's land, you stultify development, because inevitably they will go to court. And then before the case runs from the High Court, 14 years, Court of Appeal, maybe 6 years, Supreme Court, land matter from Edo State at the Supreme Court, 22 years. 22 years. The land matter, you can't get an early date at the Supreme Court. What is so urgent about it? So at the end of that eternity, the land has not been developed. So who gains or who loses? Everybody loses. Because if it was a school that was to be put there, or an hospital or something, it would have benefited the generality of the people. So we need to, in a way, express our displeasure. Let us not take sides with evil. If you find somebody do something, grab somebody else's land, either using government authority or whatever, even if the person is not in your political party, say something. How do they say it, Soros? Okay. Let us say something. As journalists, let us say something. As correspondents, let us say something. Yes, I know that if you say something, they could, you could see something, but but don't worry, I'm sure our NUJ chairman will make the security agencies sign a peace accord too, since you are going to sign one tomorrow. Because ultimately, it benefits all of us. Years ago, when I was driving from Benin through Abudu, I saw a commotion at the river Osiomo. So I stopped and found that a retired general was in his vehicle with a driver when the driver, for whatever reason, drove into the river. Either he fell asleep or whatever. So they ended up in the river. Now, it took local divers, these poor people who are, excavating sand with shovels from the river, who went in. They were able to get the general out. But the driver, because he had the seat belt on, they found it difficult to untie him on time, and he gave up the ghost. So, we took the general to the hospital there at Abudu. Those of you who know Abudu, which is my local government, Dr. Aigo's hospital. So, we took him there, and he was there. He was telling me, he said, look, that in his bag, they should check that there's a lot of money. We should just give them to the divers for saving his life. So after I asked him, I said, sir, can I ask you a question? I said, yes. I said, sorry, I'm a troublesome person. I said, sir, have you ever imagined being a general that one day you could be lying on this hospital bed in this rural area? Saved by local divers. So he was looking at me. I said, sir, this is why we the troublesome activists, always say that this country belongs to all of us. Because you never, ever can tell. You never can tell where you will get to. Who will help you? It might be that person that you demeaned, you didn't think could amount to anything. So the country belongs to all of us. The country belongs to all of us. And this is just one example of how forces can combine to bring you from your high horse one day. But I pray it does not happen to you. I pray that you should continue to fly private jets, in Jesus' name. Okay. But if it doesn't happen to you, it could happen to somebody close to you. The only time I think I heard from God was one day when I was feeling good about myself. I was feeling good about some accomplishments. I just won a big case, and I was feeling very, you know what I mean? We had just recovered the judgment, and the account was, and I was feeling good. And I heard this still small voice say to me, you are not okay when you are okay. You are okay when the ordinary man is okay. So stop thinking about yourself. Stop feeling good about yourself. Stop feeling good. So I got the inspiration to take that money, take everything, put it together in a bag and go and donate it. Go and donate it out. So, well, I went to do so with tears in my eyes. It wasn't small money, I'm telling you. So, at those times you don't want to hear. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear, because I worked out for this thing. This is my time to enjoy, and I'm supposed to go and are you sure you are God? Are you sure it's not the devil? My enemies have but I think that some of those things have a way of contributing towards one's progress in life. I don't know, because when I look at where is that man who was AGM, he has gone. I used to be chairman of the board of directors of Edo Broadcasting Service. And it was for a short period, like a few months, before I was sacked. I was suspended for causing confusion in Edo State. For causing confusion in Edo State. In the whole state, only me. I caused confusion everywhere. So, where's Alege? He has also exited. So, but that is our Nigeria for you. We are still in the business of causing confusion. I hope you know you are not confused. But that is the price that we pay for being outspoken. A few days ago, I was in Lagos. I met our learned colleague, senior advocate of Nigeria, the one who was in the panel. Sorry? So I went up to him to congratulate him. I said, congratulations for you. He said, you are congratulating me. I've lost a lot of briefs. For writing in that thing, I've lost a lot of briefs. He said, but I don't care. So there's a price to pay for being outspoken. But we must all be willing to pay that price. Because what is life without that price? There may be no light in Nigeria. I still prefer it. There may be light 24 hours in the UK, but that one is, this east-west, home is the best. So education, number one, we must, now don't think that it should be the responsibility of the chairman to educate because he's the chairman of the NUJ. So he will be in a better position to educate, perhaps shall we say the governor or whoever is in charge. I often find out that those you expect to do the education, and I'm not speaking about you, I'm just using you metaphorically, sir. When time comes for them to speak, would always not speak. So it behoves me and you to be the ones to speak, to let government know that what you are doing will not promote anything. By acquiring people's land, you have not promoted anything. You are only retarding progress. So we should be able to let them know, people in government, members of the assembly, we should be able to let them know. Don't be afraid of sacrificing your friendship for what is right. I have discovered that the best and the only friend you have are people in your family. All these friends we think we have in high places are actually not our friends. We need to be able to tell these people because they have not seen this experience. Everything is new for them. You see all these people calling your excellency, your excellency. You are not excellent. It is the office. It is not you. The day you are removed, you will discover how unexcellent you are. After all, you were not in this state when our excellent ex-governor needed their help, Mr. Sokoya's help, to move from the airport to his house in GRA. Are you not in this state? From the airport here to his house, a distance of less than 5 minutes. It took him hours, and it took combined team of police and army to come and help him get to his house. How excellent is that? So the state that he created, the anarchy he created, consumed him. What a wonderful thing if he had created a beautiful state. Because those who are doing now are the people that learn from him. Have you not been so? You know what I'm talking about. I'm not calling names. Everybody in the hierarchy now learn from him. Everybody, they all learn from him. And what he taught them to do to others, what I'm doing to him. That's my point. Why we must stop this land grabbing. Because today it may favor you. Tomorrow it may turn against you. So let us be enthusiastic about creating an equitable society. Let us all be enthusiastic about creating an equitable society. A society that is fair and just. Not because our interests are not involved. Because your interests may not be engaged today, it could be engaged tomorrow. Your child's interest may not be engaged today, it could be engaged tomorrow. No matter how much you have acquired, if you are kidnapped and there's no way to get a ransom, you are a dead man. Abi? Yes. That is why a big man, when they were kidnapped, pointed to the driver as the big man. So the guy is my oga, and never say you are the oga, now you be the oga. So we all have a duty to create this equilibrium, this society that functions, and it starts with me and with you. Hello. Now, just one or two more points, and I will leave the floor open for us to have a brief discussion. How do we reach the chairmen of the communities who are, well, they have been banned, they transform themselves into Okaegeli. Okaegeli was also banned, but I understand that they have refused to be banned. They are still freely parading themselves. Thus, the governor recently set up another rebranded, what do you call it, PPPA, Private Properties Protection, is it committee or agency or whatever, headed by a retired judge, very reputable retired judge. Unfortunately, politicians are inside that committee, and you know where politicians are. If you are not in my political persuasion, then you are automatically wrong, even if you were right. So I have my concerns about the success of that. Yes, of that. It's an agency. I have my concern about the success of that agency. If you want something like that to function, you take people who are apolitical. They may have their political sympathies, but at least they are not card-carrying members of certain political parties, because once anyone is a card-carrying member of a political party, his obligation first and foremost is to that party, and there's nothing you will tell him or her. Let me not say him, so that nobody begins to point certain people, him or her. So that is the important thing. It's important for the governor to reconstitute that agency and remove card-carrying members of political parties. You cannot set up an agency that you expect to do this kind of serious job and inject into it card-carrying members of political parties. It will not work. At least as a nation we are growing now. Is that not why the National Assembly rejected your sister Loretta Onoje from being a commissioner in INEC? Because you are openly supportive of one side, and if you get there, you cannot, so it is the same thing. That body would have some quasi-judicial function. So you cannot put people who are card-carrying members of political parties. I am not being critical, I am being discursive, I am being communicative. I hope you understand. Please don't report and say the man was very critical of the government. No, I hope I'm not grounding your news. I'm not editor, okay, but at least I was chairman of the board. So by virtue of that anointing, say the man was communicative. He tried to communicate, to say, there are things that we should look at critically, and this is one way. So that agency should be in charge of education. Mainly educating our communal heads. Having said that, the next point I want to make, which I want you to think about critically, is why is it that any case on heads, community chairmen can give land documents, and the revered Oba cannot give one land document? Meanwhile, all these enigmas on heads and chairmen of community are all subjects, subservient to His Royal Majesty. I have argued before that if you want a well-defined land tenure system, customarily, a land tenure system that is customarily defined, you need to involve His Majesty the Oba. Now, I'm not speaking for anybody. We are being communicative and we are discussing, right? Because now in Amagba, you have one set of documents. In Ikwo, you have one set of documents. In Ikwo, you have one set of documents. If you have your village, you can mention it so that you will not say I discriminated against you. You have one, so you have all this sort of documents, and they are all accepted. Even the Edo Geographic Information Service, Geographic Information Service, GIS, Geographic Information System. God bless you. It's when we want to sue them that I make my lawyer check their real name in the law. They accept these documents as documents of valid title. If you want to buy, you accept this. And these are from people who are subservient to the Oba. I cannot imagine for the life of me why His Majesty the Oba is totally cut off from land tenure system in the state, particularly in Edo South. What I advocate, and I do so very strongly without fear of favor, is that by the provisions of the Land Use Act, it would have been better for the Oba to be the one issuing land documents customary land in Benin Kingdom, so that all this enigma and in fact that will stop land grabbing, that will stop all this fighting and killings. We fizzle out, and any enigma or who issues a land document without the permission of the Oba, of course he knows what they will be the I do not need to say so because that is not my jurisdiction. But those who have felt the other side of the Ogidiga know what is capable of doing. The final point, involve His Royal Majesty to be the one to issue land documents in Benin Kingdom and take the powers from all these Nigeria and all these people. And then you will see that the community chairman's vehicles will cease. The supply will it not stop? It will stop. If I buy land from Chief Alade Ika and his anointed climbing of after he has climbed the anointed and then he gives me land, he sells land to me, then I go to the palace and then the Obas gives me, like it used to be, an approval, and that is it. Then I can take the approval to the governor to get my certificate of occupancy. But now, every time, in every community, once there's a new chairman, he will ask everybody to come and revalidate your land. Bring your land documents, and he will sit in one place, and you will be coming and say, no, that one is, no, this one. In fact, they tried it with me once that they are going to give me a new document. I should bring the old one. I said, no, don't worry, I like it. And I like it like that. So the man was a new person. It was there. Somebody called him to one fan and said, I hope you know the man. You know the man. It's okay, I should find something for the boys. I said, the boys should find me something. So having said that, on that note, I would like to end this discussion in case there are questions and things that we can say. That it is the prerogative of the Omonoba to be in charge of land, and that will end all these agitations. May God bless you all. Thank you.
24 hours, 7 days a week.
For more exciting, educative, and entertaining programs such as Law and You, Talk Politics, Entertainment Gist, Relationship Talk, and other programs, keep watching Pinnacle TV. You can watch, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Pinnacle TV Online. You can also visit our website at www.pinnacletv.com. Follow us on Facebook at Pinnacle TV Online or call us on 081 546 99989. Pinnacle TV, top quality